Hello warriors, I welcome you all to Phoenix CDS. These are some tips for the lecturate in the SSB interview. If you are old students, you can skip this as it is repetition in every video. And if you are a new student, you can pause and read these tips which will help you cover the lecturate with ease.
Good morning everyone. Today I am going to speak on the topic AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Powers Act. The origins of AFSPA date back to the colonial era when British promulgated it in response to the Quit India movement. Post-independence, AFSPA came into force in the context of increasing violence in the northeastern states, where the state government found it difficult to control in areas designated as disturbed. Armed Forces, Assam and Manipur Special Power Ordinance was promulgated by the President. Later, the ordinance was replaced by the Armed Forces Special Powers Bill. It was passed by both the houses and it was approved by the President. It later became to be known as Armed Forces Special Powers Act 1958. Its implementation was later expanded to other regions facing insurgent activities such as Jammu and Kashmir. Power to declare area as disturbed, the governor of the state or the administrator of the Union Territory or the central government is of the opinion that the use of armed forces in aid of civil power is necessary in areas which are disturbed or where territorial integrity of India is risked. Special powers for the armed forces, prohibiting the assembly of 5 or more people or carrying of weapons, if it is necessary to do so for the maintenance of public order, after giving due warning, fire upon or use force even to the extent of causing death, as he may consider necessary against any person who is acting in contravention of any law or order. Destroy any fortified position or shelter from which armed attacks are made or likely to be made, or can be used as a hideout by armed volunteers. Arrest without warrant any person who has committed a cognizable offence or against whom a reasonable suspicion exists. Enter and search without warrant any premises to make such arrest. Any person arrested and taken into custody under this act shall be made over to the officer in charge of the nearest police station with the least possible delay. Immunity given to the armed forces. No prosecution, suit, or any other legal proceeding shall be instituted, except with the previous sanction of the central government. AFSPA has been a subject of intense debate and criticism due to concerns about human rights violations and excessive use of force by the armed forces. Several human rights organizations and civil society groups have raised concern about the Act's provisions, claiming that it has led to abuses, extrajudicial killings, and torture. Justice B.P. Jeevan Reddy Commission, set to review the provisions of the Act in the northeastern states, recommended a complete repeal of the law. In my view, completely removing AFSPA would not be feasible for both the state and the armed forces, though certain structured amendments to it can be made. Building trust among the locals and asking for their cooperation for their own good, it would be welcomed. The blanket immunity of no legal proceeding should be repealed, and the authority person concerned should be made to undergo a legal proceeding. If the decision was taken in good intentions, they would have the chance to prove themselves to a judge under the Indian legal system, striking the right balance between security and individual rights. The following aspects also need to be factored in any comprehensive assessment made before the dilution or removal of AFSPA. Lifting of AFSPA from certain areas may result in terrorists seeking shelter in such areas and rebuilding their bases. Eviction of terrorists from such areas sanitized after sacrifice by the army and police force is likely to result in a renewed cycle of violence, causing a ripple effect in a negative way. Armed forces are deployed in counterinsurgency terrorist operations when all other forces available to the state have failed to bring the situation under control. Armed forces operating in such environment require certain powers, special powers and protection in the form of enabling law. Adequate checks and safeguards are built in the AFSPA to prevent its misuse. The do's and don'ts issued to the units having found approval of Apex Court have acquired legal status and are binding on the troops. The provisions of AFSPA have not been misused and is evident from the HR record of the Indian Army during the last 2 decades. Out of the total cases that were registered, 96.4% have been found to be false, and the ones found to be true have been duly punished. Thus, AFSPA is not a draconian law as it is purported to be. Thank you.